Hello, and welcome to the getting started video with Fierce Kittens on GIFBot. So after you've installed the bot, all you need to do is run it. If you opted to have it install a icon to your desktop, go ahead and click on that and start it. What this is going to do is two things. First, it starts up this little window in a console. GIFBot is basically a self-hosted web application. It's being hosted under Kestrel. It is ASP.NET Core, and which is a lot of big words. But all you need to know is that the bot is actually running in this. So do not close this. The front page, however, for you, I'll bring it over because it usually launches on another window for me. This right here is just your interface to get to the bot and to access all of the data that's being serviced back here, which is awesome. It makes it a whole lot easier to run and edit, and it's faster, so much faster in the old desktop version. So when you first install and set up, it's going to detect that you do not have any accounts. And so it's going to walk you through the bot setup wizard. This is fantastic for anybody who came from the old desktop version. You're going to cheer a lot over this because it should make the setup process a lot less confusing. Also a lot less manual. So you're going to hit the Let's Go button. And the first thing it's going to have you do is authenticate your bot account. So with the bot account, you're going to want to have a secondary account to your channel. So for me, I have Fierce Kittens bot. Fairy Wings has Dragonfly bot. You want to have a second account because it will have the option to respond in chat, and you don't want to kind of respond as yourself. It's very confusing to have it do that. So I suggest making a second account and authenticating it. So you're going to authenticate the bot account. This is not me. Usually people are automatically logged in as themselves. So you don't want this to be your bot. So I'm going to sign out. I'm going to sign in as the bot. Sorry, I use LastPass and it's like, and I'm going to log in and I'm going to double check. Yes, this is Fierce Kittens bot that I'm authenticating. And I'm going to authorize. This will take you right back to the bot, which again starts to take you to the dashboard but then detects that you haven't actually finished the setup. And then it takes you to step 3 of 4. This is for your streamer account. Now, channel point redemption and hype train progression notifications come through a system called PubSub. Unfortunately, this has to be authenticated against the channel account, meaning you. So for me, it'd be Fierce Kittens. So I need to authenticate against those in order to get those two things. If I don't do that, I can't use these features. Or rather, I can set up animations to use them, but they won't work. So I'm going to go and authenticate my account. And again, I have to log out. And sorry, I just hate that account. It's hilarious. And I'm going to log back in. No, I'm not a bot. And I double check. Yes, that's me. And I authorize. Okay, so that's basically it for the initial setup. So you have a couple of options here. You can go right over to the bot settings. You can start adding animations, or you can go to the dashboard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the dashboard first. So we'll click on that. And you can see here, you have some quick actions. And again, the UI here is stupid simple, but the reason I wanted to do that is because I wanted to keep it as low key as humanly possible. I didn't want it to be too distracting and just highly functional and, you know, easy to navigate. So here you have an output log. It's always going to kind of build up downward like this. And you can see that you join the channel, PubSub's connected, and you're connected to Twitch. Everything's good to go. You can use this button here to enable and disable streamer only mode, meaning you are the only person who can use the bot. You can enable crazy mode, which basically removes all cooldowns, and I'll get to that in a minute. That's a bot settings thing. And you can enable the regurgitator, which is a separate feature that I will go over in another video. Once you've added animations, you will have a small tree here that will allow you to filter and find animations and manually trigger them. So if you want to just be, you know, the keeper of your castle and not let people use it via chat, you can just use this control panel right here to execute things as needed. In the bot settings right here, this menu here is going to have all your basic information. So you're going to go to your bot settings. On the first tab here, you're going to see the credentials. You cannot edit the bot account name. If you want to do that, you have to reauthorize. The channel name, however, I do allow you to change. But what won't work in that case is channel point redemptions and hype train. So if you are hosting an event but on another channel, then you will probably need to put your bot over there, if anything, so you can listen to that chat. But again, no channel points for that one, unless you authenticate as that person, in which case you can always reauthorize. So you can click this button, it will take you right back through that whole setup process, and it's really seamless. Now, bot behavior. So timing mechanics. You have a global cooldown. By default, it is 1 minute. This means 1 minute between executions in chat. If you don't want to have that, you can set this to 0. The time between animations is a little bit of lag, just to kind of keep things a little sane, because it can be highly distracting if you have a lot of animations and you use them via chat. So it defaults to 5 seconds in between. The number's in milliseconds so that people can fine-tune things as they like. If you want people to know what the global cooldown is, or like that they're under a global cooldown and they can't execute their animation, then you can turn on this flag, and it will announce it in chat if somebody tries to use one of the commands but can't yet. There is a small little sub feature called animation roulette. Exclamation point animation roulette, when executed in chat, will choose a random animation to display. It will not choose things that are for specific user groups that have bit requirements or tip requirements. So it will ignore all of those and just go by whatever can be executed via chat. So I have this off by default because it's kind of a hidden feature and a lot of people don't realize it, but you can actually tie it to channel points, which is really neat. You just have to put this command in the in the title of your redemption, and that's basically it. The animation command is basically a command that can be put in chat that will spit out a list of your animations. If you have hundreds of animations like some people, then you probably do not want to have this. I have it enabled by default, usually because it takes a while for people to curate a full set. For Streamlabs integration, if you want to authenticate with Streamlabs, you can do this by clicking this link. It'll take you to my website, and it will start that authentication process. This will allow you to listen for tips and for Tiltify donations. So Streamlabs is kind enough to offer an API so people can tap into those notifications. I don't seem to have one available to me for Stream Elements, unfortunately, so you won't be able to do that. But what you'll do is authenticate, and then on the website, once you're done authenticating, it will give you a key, and you just paste that key in here and save your changes. Now, user groups, what you're going to do with user groups is you can make groups of individuals, such as moderators or people who've donated to St. Jude, for example. And you can make these individual groups, and then you can assign animations just to these groups of people. So for example, when I host a charity campaign for St. Jude Play Live, people who have donated get access to special animations that were only made available during that particular season. And so it's actually kind of interesting to see over time how people have kind of evolved and gained access to these special animations. So it's kind of, you know, it's a nice collecting item. So basically you would create a name and you would add the group, and then you can just start adding names of individuals who are going to be in that user group. And of course, saving changes. So we'll save those changes, and it does alert you right here that everything is saved. Now the browser source URLs. Here's where OBS comes into play. In order to get everything to show up in your in OBS or Streamlabs OBS, etc., your broadcaster software, you have to have this main animation page. And so you can copy that URL to your clipboard. I'm going to bring over OBS. This should be fun. Oh my God. No. Okay. Never mind. And then you'll go to the add button, and you are going to add a browser, and we'll call this GIFBot. And you'll see it's lovely. It just gives you this lovely little screen here. You're going to paste the URL in there. You don't have to label as a local file, but you can. You're going to set the width to 1920 by 1080, or if you are running off a 720p, then set it correctly. You want to use a custom frame rate and set it to 60. And that's just because if you use MP4s or WebMs, you want the higher frame rate. Otherwise, it looks a little jittery. Also, older animations like GIF files look a little jittery. You do not have to refresh the browser when the scene becomes active, but I always do set that just in case. And I hit OK. And it's an empty page, and that's great. So I'm going to slide that back over here. And then you should basically be set up. So for your first animation, you're going to click on animations, and it detects you have no animations. I also love that I left the question mark because I have no idea. So animations are organized by category. So you can create a category for memes or subscriber only or charity donors, etc. So I'm just going to create the first one as main. It's for all the peoples. And then I'm going to create a command. So the text for this kind of implies that it is a command that's always executed in chat. That's not necessarily true. It is technically the title of it. And so if you set up the animation at some point or another to only be done by channel points or whatever, then it won't execute from chat. It can't. So it'll get flagged as bot only, and you don't have to worry about it. But in any case, it's just easier for me. I always put like an exclamation point and the name of what I want it to be. And then on the next step, you're going to choose what visual you want. So I'm going to open this up. Oh my Lord. And I'm going to look for there we go, BitBoing. So, and it has uploaded it. So I chose that file. So this can be a GIF. It can be an MP4, a WebM, a PNG, whatever you want it to be. I will say MP4 and WebM are great. WebM in particular has transparency, and so if you use WebM formats, you don't have to worry about having like a chroma key on your browser source. But if you do MP4s and you want it to have transparency, then you're going to have to chroma key it. Then you go to the next step. And so I chose a video So by default, videos show up 1920 by 1080. You can resize it and click and drag this around if you want. You can turn off uniform scale and clip it and do whatever you want. So whoop, a little hinky. So 1920, 1080. And just fix that. Mostly because of this animation. If you want, you can drag outside of the container bounds. I added this feature for someone who wanted to like just have it just outside for some reason. Really advise that you not do that. It does do weird things, you know. It's like, yikes. Yeah, like that. Like I have just hosed it. Oh boy. Okay. GG. Okay, next step. You can pair it with an audio file. Since this is a video file, I'm gonna skip this step because I don't need to, but you would choose MP, you would choose like your audio file, so a WAV or MP3 file from your drive, and it would upload that and it would pair them together. So basically a GIF and a sound can play together if you don't have the ability to create MP4s or WebM files. So I'm going to skip that step. You can test the volume, set the volume. I'm going to go ahead and set it all the way up. And next step. And then what you have here is the ability to set the duration. So the duration for a video is going to be however long the video is. Everything defaults to 2 seconds. And then your cooldown is how many minutes have to pass before it can be used again. So in this case, for example, the main cooldown defaults to 5 minutes. So after it's been executed, no one can use this for another 5 minutes. That's how you're going to control the spam levels, basically. I'm going to leave everything as default, but going through the access types, there's absolutely anyone, which hardly anyone ever uses. Follower is going to be your most popular. You can also restrict by subscriber, VIP, or moderator. There are more options available to you. This is just right now in the tutorial to give you an idea of how you can start restricting access to certain animations. And then finish. And of course, it does walk you through the setting up, which we already did. But this again tells you what you need to do in order to get everything running in your broadcaster software. So we're gonna go back to the dashboard, and now you will see in here we have balloons, which I just, named whatever because it was in there. I'll bring this over again. And what we'll do is I'm gonna shrink this up a bit so we can see. And I'm gonna click on that. Oh, whoops. I forgot I did that one. So this is good. This is good. So we'll go into filters in your broadcaster software, and we're going to add an effect filter for chroma key. And it already defaults to green. So click close. I'm sorry about that. Boink. Boink. And that's basically, sorry, that one always makes me laugh. So the animation just works. It just shows up just like that. Boing. And you see it cued it. Boing. Sorry. Okay, I'll stop being silly now. All right. So that is how there wouldn't get I'm sorry, I queued them up and I have to wait 5 seconds. But you see, it does tell you who triggers stuff, so you can at least see that. I'm such a child. But anyway, I hope that helps you. That is how you get the bot completely set up and ready to go. In the next video, I'm going to discuss advanced animation options. Thank you.